The Louisville Zoo has been throwing a party for the planet all month long, and thanks to the LG&E and KU Foundation, on Earth Day, April 25th, folks will be able to enjoy discounted admission and free parking. And joining us with the details is John Walzak with the Louisville Zoo and Natasha Collins with LG&E and KU. Hi to both of you.
Hi, Joanne.
Hi. Okay, so first of all, I mentioned the discounted admission. John, can you give us the details about Earth Day?
Yeah, and I just have to say one more time, thanks Natasha and LG&E KU Foundation. This is a great partnership. It's a wonderful day, and it's a whole month-long celebration. And on that day, admissions only $8.25 and free parking, and that's all because of the great support of LG&E and KU.
That is so fantastic. And like you said, you've been celebrating Earth Month the entire month of April. What inspired the Louisville Zoo to do that, and what kinds of things have you been doing?
Well, Earth Day and Earth Month is critical to our mission, bettering the bond between people and the planet. And we started this celebration 31 years ago with the 20th anniversary of the Earth Day. Earth Day began in 1970. So we've been doing this for now 31 years. So it's part of our mission. It's part of our DNA. And there's so many things that we've been doing to celebrate this. We have Fun Day Mondays where you can come in for $5.25. Again, thanks to the LG&E KU Foundation for making this happen. We have been on Saturdays. You could buy Zoo Poopy Doo. And who doesn't need Zoo Poopy Doo for their garden? It is some of the most rich fertilizer that you could get, and you know where it comes from. It's some of the amazing creatures out here at the zoo. A lot of elephants put a lot of hard work into that. And there's Celebrate the Earth Saturdays where we have, you could get onto our website. There's information. We're sharing stories. We've also had a book club that happened on the 17th where people could come in and discuss some books that are by very well-known conservation biologists. And of course, the big celebration of Earth Month is Earth Day also features trash formation, where students will take different things that they find in the trash and make great art and musical instruments, and we'll celebrate and give those awards out for the best pieces. And Teddy Abrams is going to join us to help celebrate those awards.
How fun. That is amazing. And Natasha, what inspired LG&E and KU Foundation to team up with the Louisville Zoo and to give back to the community like this?
Well, it's a longstanding partnership between LG&E and KU, our foundation, and the zoo. And that's just, we have an outstanding zoo. They are wonderful partners. But, in addition to supporting our most vulnerable customers, we believe in supporting initiatives that support the planet, support our Earth, that also enhance education and allow an opportunity for economic development as well. And so Party for the Planet is an opportunity to do all of those things. And when we think about, how we have this opportunity within this event to, take a place that we all love, a place that we can get out and enjoy outdoors, especially in these times we've been in, it allows an opportunity for people to spend time with their families, for people to start a dialogue and have conversations about how do you live a sustainable life? What kinds of things do you need to consider? How can you better consider our animals and our planet? And so this does all of those things in addition to, the wonderful trash formation contest, which, Teddy Abrams getting out there and working with the kids. It's always exciting to see what kind of ideas they come up with and what kind of sustainable instruments they build. So it's just a wonderful time to get out and enjoy the planet, to enjoy this great venue that we have here that allows us to learn more about animals. And we want to support that as much as we can.
I love that. What better place to celebrate Earth Day than at the Louisville Zoo? I mean, it just makes sense. And John, of course, to keep everyone safe, capacities are limited. So now is the time to get those tickets. Is that right?
Yep, everything is online. So go to our website, louisvillezoo.org, to buy your tickets and book early because we do have capacity limits for everybody's safety due to the pandemic. So yes, please come online and order those tickets. Come and learn about the planet and what you could do to be a part of that healthy balance. There's 7.9 billion of us now. So we all need to learn about what we could do to help contribute to the healthy balance for our planet's future.
Fantastic. Thank you both so much for talking with me today.
Thanks, Joanne. Thanks, Natasha.
Thank you both.
And again, all tickets must be purchased online in advance, and you can do that at louisvillezoo.org. And to learn more about the LG&E and KU Foundation, go to lge-ku.com/sustainability.